Hey there, it's Jessie here, and a big warm welcome to this big warm channel. Guys, I'm back. Thank you for I'm excited and a bit apprehensive to make this video. So let's take a breath. Thank you for being here. Did you miss me? I'd say that I missed you, but I don't know you. So let's keep it real. But I missed this experience, I missed making videos, and I missed hearing from you guys. So it's good to be back. How has the last month been for you? I've been working like a dog. I've been working in a summer camp with young teens, and it's been very fun, but totally consuming. And I'm on holiday now for a few weeks, which is nice, and I'm breathing out. And the camp was fantastic. It was very good to be working with young people again. So I am feeling a little bit down. And as you can see in the title, what I'll be talking about today is closing doors. And that's not easy. Right? I've had to close some doors in my life, and I'm feeling the emptiness of doing that. So, where to begin? And for those of you who are completely new and you clicked on my face, I share my processes. Reflect in my mirror if you wish to, however you wish to do that. So, where shall I start? There's been a few goodbyes, not so literal, but some yes. So I'll begin with the little one. For those of you who have been watching for a while, you may have noticed I went to Barcelona a couple of months ago to meet somebody, and it was very brief, our interaction together. But I had to put a sharp end to that, because in our interactions, you know, we didn't work out romantically as a relationship. Neither of us wanted that. But we sort of attempted a friendship, I suppose. And all I can say is I didn't like how it was making me feel, the communication. And that's because this is my perspective of it, right? So there's always three sides to a story: my side, their side, and the truth. So we'll take it all with a pinch of salt, but I'll express my side of it, which was he would engage in a conversation via text, like he'll send an article or something to open up discussion. And then I would think, okay, he wishes to connect. So I would sort of respond to that and give my response to it, and then nothing. And then a few days later, there would come in a new thread, a new topic. And I'd think, okay, all right, I'd respond to it, nothing. So what it felt like to me was this initiation of connection, but never followed through. Or at least my feeling was there was never an interest, a visible, shown interest in my side of the conversation. So I start to notice this. I start to notice I'm getting bothered by it. And I think, right, how do I deal with it? So I said, hey, you might have noticed I'm edging out a bit. I don't think we communicate in the same way. I think our communication is incompatible. So just to let you know. Anyway, he took it with grace and said, okay, that's good to know. Thank you for letting me know. We won't text anymore. And I'm like, okay, boundary set. Until some weeks later, sorry, I've got this hair tickling me. Until some weeks later, I don't know how long exactly, but he just came in again with the same little insert of his opinion about something, but zero inquiry, no questioning, and he was completely repeating the behavior that I'd asked him not to do before. So what to do? I gave a very short response and then blocked him. Okay, he must have realized at some point that I blocked him, because then he emails back asking for connection. He said things were unresolved on his end. Do you want to have a conversation? Now, I made a decision in that moment. Things are very resolved on my end. It's very clear for me. And I thought, so opening this back up again would be literally me holding space for what he needs to process. And there's been a lot of times in my life where I've really wanted for the other person to hold space and hear me. A lot of times. And it's not always there. So I thought, okay, well, since it's something I want, I'll grant it to him. And before we even had a call, he wrote a long, long letter of his reflections, of his musings. But all I can say is that there was very little, again, inquiry about my side of things. There were a lot of assumptions made. There was even we do this and we do that. Well, hold up, buddy. You don't know me. And you didn't make much effort to get to know me, really, deeply. I think you wanted an idea of me. So again, I had to put a hard no. I had to say, like, okay, thank you for taking the time to share these reflections. I really hope it helped him in his process. But do not assume you know my experience. And since you've never asked, you can't know that's the truth. You don't ask, which makes me feel there's no reciprocity here. And what I need for connection is listening. So I don't feel like I'm getting that here. Goodbye. End. Now, this was one of the goodbyes that was easier for me to make because I feel clear about it. But don't get me wrong, I feel clear about it now. There's been doubts along the way. Oh, is there something I'm not seeing? You know what I'm doing now, guys? I'm navigating a lot more on if I'm confused about something, how is it feeling in my body and what does it need to feel safe? And I am more sensitive than most, and my nervous system's been wrought since childhood. And, it's a daily practice to keep everything calm and grounded. So if there is something that is disrupting that peace and it's a new connection, one that I don't need, I'm a little bit more precarious now. So, boundary. That was number one. Number two was just a little one, and it's not a literal goodbye. It's more just I don't know if goodbye is the right one, but I'm just going to swing it in with all these, which is I spent a lot of time this summer on my weekends off with a friend, dear friend, and I started to consider him in a new light. And I even thought about sharing this with him. And I thought, no, Jessie, because my pattern with men a lot of the times is I instigate and then I keep it going. So I've needed to learn to step back a little bit, let them instigate something, see how it makes me feel, and play a little bit more of the back seat. Not totally. I'm not going to just sit back and be passive, but I rush in too much and I don't give space for myself to see how they actually feel or whether they're just in constant response to my initiations. So I thought, don't do it again, Jess. Like if he's into you, he'll let you know. Anyway, it did turn out we had the opportunity last week. I stayed at his house. Nothing happened. There was platonic cuddling, which was lovely, but nothing happened. I was still considering this, Anyway, I went to lunch with him and a friend yesterday, and he was talking about some nights he had had with other women and how he's going to ask another girl out who we were with together the week before I stayed at his house. Anyway, it's very evident that he's not considered me as an option. It's okay. But of course I feel disappointment. And I think I'm sharing this because what I noticed is my disappointment and feeling of rejection. My mind was looking to justify that with a narrative, which was, oh, I'm not wife material. That's what I feel like. I'm not, that's what this part that's trying to make sense of an emotion feels like. Is it even feeling like, or it's the way it justifies how it feels? So I saw this old narrative come in, like this false belief that men don't consider me as a partner. It's a false belief. I got rejected by one person. That doesn't mean all men But how quickly the mind seeks to, especially my mind, I'm not, I have to consciously think now, Jessie, because I tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So that's a tendency of mine, and I need to catch it, put the baby back in. Well, no, just dry it and dress it. The bath time's over. And then third, goodbye. This has been a big one, guys. It's with the man. Oh, here she goes again. The man that I was in love with. And I attempted a friendship with him. And even though 90% of myself understood he doesn't want a relationship, there was parts of me that didn't see it working either. I understood that a relationship wasn't possible, 90%, but there was still a part of me that wanted it, right? And in me engaging in friendship with this man was like betraying that part of me. And I realized it was also preventing me from having a friendship because, if he popped up on my screen, my phone, that little part of me was like whoosh with hope again. And it's false hope. It's false hope. And what's so paradoxical about this goodbye is that I realized my loyalty needs to be with me and that part. And if she wants more than with him, and she doesn't want just a friendship, I've got to look after her. And how do I look after her? Well, I say, then we're not friends. And we cut this man out completely. And it's a paradox because what she wants is connection with this man. But what she wants is a deeper connection that he can't provide. So we have to remove it, It's like if I don't want to eat chocolate every day, I don't buy chocolate and I don't have it around me. It's so hard because I'm looking after her and she's so sad. So now she has to grieve. Now we're grieving. And the other thing, it's a funny conversation because it sort of confirmed the whole reason it would never work between us anyway. This was a big decision for me to take. It took me a few weeks to come to this decision. And part of me doesn't want to do it, right? And my teacher on my course always asked this question once is, where do we betray ourselves for the sake of connection? Where do we betray what it is we really want just to maintain a connection with somebody? But it's then inauthentic and we're not giving ourselves the truth or the other person. So I've learned it's not how I wish to navigate my life if I would like total liberation, which I would. So that was happening here. So it was a big decision to come to, and I shared this with him. I don't know if I can continue this friendship. I was bringing so much vulnerability in that moment and depth and of course there's this part of me that's hoping he will react in a certain way, of course. And without missing a beat, this man went, okay, all right, I respect that. It was the most heartless response I could have. All I can say is I wasn't matched with the depth I was hoping to be matched with, and this is why our relationship would never work. So it was a very bittersweet moment of being shown exactly why it wouldn't work, and also just hurtful at his willingness to discard, to just show no emotion about losing me as a friend. And there's many ways that you can look at this, and of course I've looked at it in many ways, and there's many more that I will probably think about in the future. But, my gut feeling is that it's not that it doesn't pain him, but that was just a very quick response to not go into the emotion of it, maybe. Now, I can also argue, isn't that wishful thinking? And it's possible, he might not give a damn about losing it, but I just don't believe that's not what it feels like knowing our connection. But without missing a beat, it was just such a disregard. It was so dismissive of the connection. And yeah, in one way, he's respecting my boundaries. And to be fair to him, the conversation went on much longer, and he showed a little more concern and appreciation for me, understanding what my needs are and honoring them, even at the sake of losing something very special in my life, at least. But it hurt. So I'm grieving that, or that part of me is grieving that. I've got like a mini rejection from a dear friend who does not consider me in that way. And I've had to say no to somebody projecting a lot, to be honest, and disguising it with a lot of abstract philosophical thought and a metaphor of a mirror, but no real stuff in there, in my opinion. So I share all of this with you just to let you know where I am right now. I'm in a little bit of grief and disappointment, and it's very, as I said, it's very bittersweet, because despite the sadness and grief, I feel very empowered and clear. And it's closing these doors. I'm left with an emptiness. And again, the mind trying to make sense of this feeling of emptiness, it wants a narrative to justify it. But it justifies it in a personal way that makes it a belief about my self-worth and who I am. Whereas emptiness is just a part of goodbyes. And I would like it to be fertile. My friend shared this with me, the friend that rejected me unknowingly. The fertile void. So we can be in the void, and then we can take an action, which I have. I said no. And then the void becomes fertile. It's like what will grow in its place. And even just saying that now, I feel better. It's just shifting the perspective on emptiness, isn't it? It doesn't have to mean anything about who I am as a person. It just means at this moment in my life, I've just reached the end of a chapter. And there's grief there. And a bit of excitement. But first grief. Oh, it's just mixed, isn't it? It's just nuanced. Bloody hell. So I invite you to reflect on that question. If there's anywhere in your life that you betray yourself in order to maintain connection. Have you said goodbye lately? And how are you coping with the grief and the empowerment that comes with that? Is there anywhere in your life that maybe you still need to say goodbye? Questions for you to reflect. Of course, I love when you share down below. If you feel the call, if you feel safe to do so. Otherwise, I think I'll leave it there. So if you're still with me, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel, give it a like. You can subscribe if you're completely new. There's a donation link if you'd like to donate. And thank you very much to those that do. All right, guys, have a beautiful day, beautiful life. And remember, we got this.